Use the bell, that's pretty cool. Whose bell is that? So, what, you didn't like that? It's there. All right, guys. Thank you, everybody, for being here tonight. Well, I love a full house. Here comes Martin, so I'm going to wait for him to come in. Good to see everybody. Thanks for everybody being here. It sounds like you guys are all here for the same thing.
Almost.
No, I know. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
It is the same thing, athletics.
Thank you.
Hey, Mark.
Hey, Martin, I saw you walking up, buddy. No, what was it? You're going to run late?
Sent you a text that most of them were 2 minutes late.
Yeah, no worries. That's fine. I was willing to wait, so I knew you were going to be over here. All right, guys, thanks to everybody for being here. We're going to start off tonight's meeting. It's September 19th, 2022. You're here at the Poolesville Town Commissioners meeting, starting promptly once again at 7 p.m. Thanks for everybody for being here. As always, Jeff is going to lead us first in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Jim.
Yep, good stuff. Thank you, Jeff. All right, very good. So we'll go right into the announcements. Ed, do you have anything to get us started with?
Absolutely. Well, it's great to have a full house, and what I'd like to just share is congratulations to Link and his leadership. We had a great VIP breakfast for a lot of our legislators who came in, and then we'll save the rest for fair access. Then also, just looking at Poolesville Baptist Church, they have an event coming on. I encourage you to go to their website. They're doing some packaging of supplies and things for those who are in need. I believe that's going to be the weekend of October 1st. That's it for right now, Jim.
Very good, Ed. Martin, what do you have for us?
I don't have any announcements tonight.
No announcements from Martin. Jeff, I know I saved the best for last, buddy. It's all yours.
Thank you, Jim. So the Upper Montgomery County Volunteer Fire Station is having their last for the year pork and beef sandwich sale on the second Saturday of October. I have some other announcements which I printed out and left at home, so I'll read them from my phone. There will be this is from the Seniors Club, the Poolesville Seniors Club. There will be a book club on September the 19th at 7 o'clock. You can get more details on the Poolesville Seniors website. There's also a pickleball beginners clinic. I know if I can see right, there's a bunch of pickleball enthusiasts right here. So welcome. That's on September the 21st at 5:30. And then also Mr. Kenny Scholes is having another history lecture on historic properties in our area. That's on September the 22nd. Also a very interesting discussion of medicine during the Civil War. That's on September the 27th at 7 o'clock in the evening. Polo is on, where is this? At the the Seneca Polo Club in Poolesville, Maryland, on October the 1st at 6:30 under the lights, so that should be very interesting. And I'm very happy to say that our Fire Chief, Scott Graham, on October the 6th is giving a lecture on the history of the Upper Montgomery County Volunteer Fire Station. And what also looks like a very fun event on the line dancing on October the 15th at 6 until 10 p.m. You can get your tickets on the Poolesville Seniors website. And I believe that's it for the announcements, Jim. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff.
Oh, I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead,
I wanted
sir.
to say congratulations to the Poolesville Day Committee. Of course, it was a spectacular event. Greatly had a lot of great fun there. Looked like a really good showing. And likewise, congratulations to the Fair Access Committee on what I kind of refer to as the political breakfast, or maybe it's a Fair Access Committee breakfast held on Poolesville Day. That had a fantastic turnout. Representatives from the state, representative from the federal, the state, and the county level was exceptional. I think congratulations, of course, to echo what Ed said, to Link Hoeing, very well-deserved, prestigious award bestowed on him by Representative Andrew Friedson of the Montgomery County Council. So, yeah, again, congratulations and thanks, Jim.
Thank you, Jeff. And yes, that was some good stuff. Before I get into my announcements, I just wanted to point out that all the commissioners are in attendance, with the exception of Carrie, who's not joining us on Zoom tonight. And Town Manager Wade Yost is here, and Town Engineer John Strong is in the building as well. And do we know, is Town Attorney on Zoom, or is he available?
No, he had something come up, so he's not gonna be able to make it. I had texted him if we need him.
Okay, very good, thank you. Hopefully, we don't need him. But very good, thank you for that. My announcements, I'm just going to save everything for fair access, with the exception of, again, telling and saying out loud and thanking with heartfelt thanks to our Poolsville Day Committee for putting together an amazing Poolsville Day, kind of a rebound Poolsville Day after we've had some down attendance and then no cancellation and new leadership. Kevin Schramm did an amazing job. We had a lot of new faces, a lot of new places. I hope you guys all enjoyed it out there that were in the audience. It's a great day. We celebrate ourselves, and it just turned out to be a tremendous day. And one thing I really like about when I was talking to Kevin about this, that if there's a screw up somehow on Poolsville Day, there's just so many people and so many things going on that we just kind of smooth past it and just keep on going. And the guys did a great job the whole day. You know, people weren't lined up where they were supposed to be. Some things happened in the vendors, and it just kind of just washes itself out. And you just, in the spirit of the day, you have a great day. And they did a great job. So, and it was obviously very busy. I can't wait till we get our mapping software to tell us how many people we had. Are we doing that this year? We had the full GPS mapping.
I'm not sure if they're doing that whole thing this year or not.
Okay.
I'll follow up and find out.
I'm semi-kidding, but if that's what they do, that it'll be interesting to see what kind of number they come up with. So, anyway, thanks to the Poolsville Day Committee. On our commissioner reports, Carrie's not here for events. Does anybody want to contribute anything on an event standpoint? I think they're all taking a breather after this past weekend, so.
They're starting to gear up for the Scarecrow contest and all the things that go along with that towards the end of October.
Great, yeah, we have an Oktoberfest celebration coming up. We have our Scarecrow contest.
I do want to recognize Kathy Buck for all the work that she put in from behind the scenes as well. And
Yeah,
so
Kathy did
just
a
watching her
great
run
job.
around and all the things that happen, I always know if you're going to do anything that's worthwhile, you need excellence behind the scenes. And so Kathy Buck did a great job.
She did. All the volunteers, she's paid, but all the volunteers too, Matt Johnson, all the guys that do our caterers that did the Poolsville Day, the sound man, Jason from Poolsville. I mean, they're just tremendous day. I'm just amazed we go around Poolsville Day and we just see volunteers everywhere picking up, directing, doing things. I mean, they're just amazing. The recycle gang, they were great going through town. They were hilarious. So good stuff. So thank you for that. And that, if there's any other events, things we'll save for the next meeting. Martin, can you tell us about the Planning Commission?
Yeah, so we met on the 14th, and we discussed several different things. Under old business, we discussed the comprehensive plan. We had a representative from Wallace Montgomery who updated us on things. They've been talking to some more stakeholders and just moving the process along. And like I told you at the last meeting, it looks like we will be aiming to have something done by the first quarter of next year, which is in compliance with the state, everything we need to be doing. So that's good. We discussed again the chicken ordinance, and that's sort of an ongoing thing. We kind of tabled it and to agree to discuss it at the next meeting. I do think that probably it's going to be voted on at some point and referred to this board. So I do think for the first time, there's the appetite there. I suspect we'll see. I don't know if there's the appetite on this board.
Pardon the expression, appetite for chicken.
Yes. Well, yeah. You heard
Right.
Jerry's testimony.
Table, right, yes. That we can do this. This happens at every meeting. We'll just leave it alone. Go ahead.
Yeah, and the Donegan folks came in with a sketch plan, which was a little bit different than the last time around. They added a few units and reconfigured some things, and they are going to move forward and come in again with a more formal plan sometime in the future. Very good.
Can I ask you a quick question? Is the Donegan property, that's right by CVS, right?
Yes.
And are they submitting a plan so that they can, again, reestablish their water connection?
No, they're submitting a plan to build.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and
Okay.
it's not Donegan. Donegan, if everything works out, Donegan will sell the property to this other gentleman who's going to develop it and build townhomes.
Okay, and that's why they were doing the drilling not too long ago?
That's
Those
a
were to check the
question for me.
foundations and they're gonna pour footers and things like that.
Okay,
Stormwater man.
okay, thank you.
See how much bedrock is there. Okay, very good. Thank you for that, Martin. Good report. Jeff?
Thank you, Commissioner Brown. So I sent in a 4-page report, which I won't read all of it right this moment, because we're going to get to a number of the items, the Eagle Scout, the Stevens Park basketball, pickleball courts. We'll get to that under new business. So I'll just cover the points that are not on the agenda. We also talk about a softball request. So Miss Tracy Perkins spoke on behalf of the softball request. There are 109 players comprising 5 teams. The games are on Mondays and Wednesdays. They play at Helmholtz Park, Owens Park, that's in Bellsville, and at the softball field behind the fire station. The request is to establish a new softball field, and Preston King noted that softball field number 2 at Helmholtz Park is underutilized. And Mr. King further noted that he can reconfigure softball field number 2 at Helmholtz Park for a 60/90 softball field. That means 60 feet between pitcher's mound and home base and 90 feet between the bases. Additionally, Preston noted that he can reconfigure softball field number 3 at Helmholtz Park for 70/90 softball field. Mr. King also noted the storage container could be placed at Helmholtz Park for an equipment locker, and Preston estimated a cost of $5,000 to $10,000 to reconfigure the softball fields. And Preston, Mr. King also said he would speak with Terry Pierce. Terry Pierce is the PAA manager, and about repurposing field number 2 and reconfiguring field number 3. And Terry Pierce was not at the last Parks Board meeting, so that, I guess that conversation still has to take place.
Can I jump in there real quick? Have you finished with that portion of that?
I can't hear you very well.
Are you finished with that portion of that line item?
I am, thank you.
Okay, so typically, this does not need to come to the commissioners. I think they were looking for our approval by the commissioners. Typically, once the Parks Board does go ahead and make a recommendation, then it becomes administrative, and we take a look at it from a cost standpoint. We do have the funding in place to do that change, so we can move forward with it. As far as the storage locker goes, typically, the league itself would put a storage locker of their own out there. That's usually what happens. So we can move forward. There's not an approval process for the commissioners at this point.
Thank you, Wade. I also want to talk a little bit about the skate park redesign. So Preston is working with a team to come up with a redesign on the skate park, and Preston noted it's likely that he will be able to use grant money for that redesign on the, I guess it's a repainting of the skate park. Also, regarding the fish pool project, that's the Willard property right over here. The Parks Board requested a list of the proposed street names, and the Parks Board will then review the proposed street names for compliance with the street naming policy. Additionally, we'd like approval to proceed, the Parks Board would like approval to proceed with installing flashing crosswalks across Fisher Avenue over by Wooten, over by the elementary school. The flashing crosswalks across Fisher Avenue over by, at the intersection of Fisher and Wooten. And Preston also noted that when the streetscape then happens, and there'll eventually be a circle there, that the flashing crosswalks can be then relocated to an appropriate position after the traffic circle is installed. And finally, on the bouldering park, Wade and Preston are investigating pricing, scale, scope, and the location for a potential bouldering park. I put some pictures in my report to you so if you can see what a bouldering park is. And the Parks Board tabled the discussion until the October Parks Board meeting, and then I just provided some photographs so you can get an idea what a bouldering park looks like. And that's it, except for the discussion on the Eagle Scout project, Stevens Park basketball courts, and pickleball, which we'll get to under new business.
Any idea why the bouldering was postponed?
Actually, I don't know why, no.
Okay, that's fine.
Yep.
We have time. Okay.
So
very-
do we
very
want to
good.
table
Yeah.
the discussion for the flashing lights? Because that is an approval item for the commissioners. There's about $25,000 for the expenditure for the flashing crosswalks. So that's something with the money's in place, it's not a budget amendment, it's in the streetscape fund right now, so,
25,000 each crosswalk, right? 2 signs, 2 flashing.
correct.
So
So we could put it on the next agenda, or you could make it tonight, whatever you guys want to do, I'm saying, but that's an item.
No, I'm content for next meeting for an agenda item for that, if that's okay with
Have we done
everybody.
any kind of a study? Because there's probably like, I can think of 3 or 4 intersections that really need them. Are we going to prioritize this?
The Parks Board had looked at several, please, yeah.
Yeah, well, thank you for the question there, Commissioner Radigan. So we did discuss quite a number of locations, not only for the flashing crosswalks, but also for speed humps. And then that list was, I think, turned over to, I think Mr. Strong helped us to figure out where they were allowed to be placed and where they were not allowed to be placed. So we're prioritizing that list. So it is on our list already. But the one that floated to the top is the highest priority because there's just so many children crossing the street over there, was the one over by the elementary school. And right now in the morning, of course, you have the crossing guard, right? And then this would just add a little extra layer of safety to that, quite a busy intersection there in the morning. But thank you.
John, is there any discussion about putting one up by locals? I know I see a lot of people kind of jaywalking there and like.
We talked about that several times. The problem is that where the people are crossing between the two buildings, it is not owned by the town at all. So you're trespassing, okay? And we wouldn't want to, if you walk another 70 paces up, there is an existing crosswalk which gives you protection.
Property, is it HMD or is it the gentleman that lives there?
HMD and also the gentleman who lives
Okay.
there.
I'd like to expand on that a little bit. We also have our streetscape consultant, looking at that area to come up with some ideas. And then once this development happens over here and the streetscape is completed, there's a walkway that comes on this side of the street. So that's really going to take away some of that to be a parking area there. So may just wait a little bit, see how that comes out.
If I may, I just want to reemphasize Mr. Strong's point. We have discussed that location over and over again because, I mean, I love going to locals, right? And I don't have to cross the street there because I live over in Hale Avenue. But there's so many people who just walk across the road between Potomac River Supply and over to locals and back and forth. And just the other day, I saw a lady pushing a baby wagon, a baby buggy, and coming right out from in front of the old historic town hall. And I was just, this is a problem. This is just something bad waiting to happen. So I don't know what to do about it. We had discussed this, and it's an excellent point that Commissioner Radigan brought up, but I just don't know what the answer is. We talked about putting signs there, but we don't own where the signs would go.
We'll build a bridge that goes really high.
Or in Ocean City, like in Ocean City, they have that big, long fence there.
So wait, this is two different subjects. One is that up at Old Town Hall, we'll wait for Arrow's recommendation, period. They're street engineers, they're going to give us a different view than John's already given us, which is good, or alternative view, I guess. And then we'll have a presentation for the commissioners to eyeball that, and we'll figure out what to do there. So the question is, Wade, what more do we need to know tonight about potentially purchasing one for down at Wooten and Fisher, a flashing light? Is there more studies and more, what do we need to do there? Because, I mean, the Parks Board has given us a recommendation, they've ranked it at their highest level.
There's really nothing more to do at this point, just the decision, you want to expend the funds, right, and the funds are in place.
25 grand, funds are in place, and Preston says that once or you guys collectively say that once we dig into streetscape and the David Trone commemorative circle is built, then we're going to be able to still reuse those at that point, do we think?
Oh, sure, we can move them wherever we want to.
How many
As long as
streets?
it's with the long streets that we own.
I was going to say, how many streets do we really have the possibility of putting them on? That's the question.
Right, well, West Willard we do now, so by the high school, there might be
Yeah,
a
so we can push it down
location.
that way.
Yeah, so, yeah, we can take
Yeah.
a look.
Then we have to build a
So
sidewalk.
do you want a motion? Do we want to do this tonight?
I don't have a problem with it at all. Yeah.
So it's 25,000?
Tell us,
Approximately.
just give us the right language for the
Yeah,
motion.
what's the-
What do we want to say
Just a
here?
motion to go ahead and purchase the flashing crosswalks for Wooten and Fisher and install.
And what budget and where's it going to come from, the money?
It comes from the streetscape fund.
I make a motion that we allocate money to spend the crosswalk on Wooten, coming from the streetscape funds. Does that work?
Electronic crosswalk signs, yes.
I have two cents to add in there. I know the poles that we had right over here broke because they were aluminum poles. And then you had heavy-duty replacement poles made by welding.
Yeah, Morningstar Welding.
Right over here,
We'll do the
so-
same thing again.
Perfect, okay, thank you.
Absolutely.
So Martin's made a motion to approve.
Sure, I'll second his motion.
Thank you. Ed has a second on the motion to approve the funding for the purchase of street signals at the crosswalk of Wooten and Fisher. We have a motion, we have a second. Do we have any other questions on that? All in favor of that motion, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? None? Did some lady in the out there say aye? Yes. All right, good.
Way to speak up.
Yeah, that's votes approved.
Should we get a petition for her?
Yeah, right. Have her sign the back of my petition. She can have her own. Yeah, we like that. No, it's fine. Just hold on to it for now. Hold on to it. It's all good. Okay, good. Thank you, citizen input. Thank you for the commissioners. Thanks for Jeff, to the Parks Board, for getting all the pieces together for us on that. We appreciate it, and that's pretty cool. Now we'll have 3 of those things, and they have worked well. So it's good.
definitely work.
It's good to see them, and I'm glad to. Hey, remember back when we took over this road? I mean, that was part of the reason. So, good stuff. All right, very good. So that was Jeff. Mine on fair access, I'll keep it short since we got a lot of people here that don't want to just hear me ramble. We had a great Poolsville Day VIP breakfast. And to all the seniors in the audience, to all the kids in the audience, next year, if you want to come to our Poolsville Day VIP breakfast, please send me a note and we'll make sure you get an invite and you can come to the breakfast. It's a lot of fun. It's a who's who of Maryland politicians. Our job is to engage them, advocate, talk about Poolsville, talk about our needs, set the table for the next year. And as a result of these breakfasts, of course, of our year-long advocacy, the hard work Link has done and the rest of the Fair Access Committee, the direct results are our high school. The direct results are cross fines. Our direct results are streetscape. Our direct results are going to be the community center, potentially a bubble over the pool. These are the things that we're working for on the Fair Access Committee. I love how we're deployed. I like the way that we all work together. Everybody's got a job to do. The committee's done a great job. Of course, we can't do it without Link. He's amazing. And again, this was another successful one. This is Mark Elrich. This was Andrew Friedson. This was other council members. This was the Board of Education. This was the superintendent of the Board of Education. This is everybody down the line that's important to Poolsville now comes to this and feels like it's a must-do get-together. So we pressed the flesh. We tried to pin them down on positions. We're obviously searching for a lot more funding. Our immediate goal is to make sure that the gym gets positioned the right way at Poolsville High School. We've gotten some late information that actually does look better, that they've listened, that there have been some modifications made. You'll be seeing it. I'll be going public with some of that here over the next week or so, but it is going to be transformative. And we just have plenty more going on. So we'll just keep an eye on the news, and we'll let you know when we need you, because we're going to want you to join our muster campaign and be part of our advocacy. And you've been very effective so far. What was the question that everybody asked the most out of all this stuff we've done? So we've gotten $150 million worth of funding. We're rebuilding Poolsville from the ground up. It's not going to change Poolsville. It's just going to make it better and more modern. What was the number one question we got on Poolsville Day? Anybody in the audience, go ahead. Anybody?
When is the ferry opening?
Thank you. When is the ferry opening? So that was the number one question we got. So as I said, there's been 4 years of handshaking and attendance and meetings and doing stuff. When is the ferry going to open up? And I wish we had a better answer for you. The only thing I could tell you again is we had heard it earlier this week. It was reiterated that the DOT is directly working with the people from Virginia. Our DOT, Department of Transportation, is working with the Virginia people to potentially put something together. So as soon as we hear something, we'll let you know. But obviously it's a huge disappointment that it's been 2 years. I love our politicians and our elected officials, but to hear them talk about how well they've worked together to on White's Ferry and it's still not working, that's wearing a little thin on me. So we've got some more work to do.
I did hear some comments about trash too from people on Poolsville Day, and somebody said kind of in a sarcastic way, maybe the Fair Access Committee should work with the commissioners so that we get like equal trash services that Down County has.
For access on our trash service.
I do think
that.
I do think that's something we should look. Did we ever do a study like to see, what other jurisdictions, other trash companies, other municipalities like how often their pickups are like diverted and how often things are missed and?
Yeah, last time, well, before I tried to retire out, yeah, we went through a whole survey, and we put together a scope and went out to bid, and there were several different variables, and we looked at other municipalities, what they did. We're kind of rare, because most municipalities only pick up trash once per week and recycle once per week, so we are rare in that case. And we spend a little bit more money, or cost more money to get another vendor in here than other places are just doing once. But this spring, that contract is going to be up, and so we're going to be right there looking at all these issues
I think we
again.
really got to look at it closely because people are getting, I mean, certain people have no problems, but other people are getting really frustrated.
Well, town hall staff gets blasted in here all the time with.
I'm sure they have
complaints
better things they could do
and-
with their time than,
So,
you know.
one thing I think I want to do, if I'm still around, is that I think I'd like to see us put together a citizen committee to help us on the trash side of it.
That's a good idea.
And so we can take the results of the survey, we can bring in our citizens, especially some of the ones that have been more vocal on trash, and get their input and get their help. And I think that if, between the commissioners and Wade and John doing their thing, that, and then also citizen input on top of the survey that we've done, hopefully we'll have the best solution. I mean, I'm not talking about, it's not, this doesn't have to be like a months and months long thing. We're not doing the comprehensive plan, like meet 2 or 3 times and that's it.
Right.
So, anyway, we'll be looking for draftees out there this spring when it comes to it, especially those of you that haven't been getting their trash picked up. We like your opinion.
I think you're going to be seeing Sustainable Poolsville
Well, I
jump
mean,
in.
I may not be sitting at this desk.
Sustainable Poolsville will be weighing in on this because they would really like to go
you
to
for that.
separation of recyclables and get rid of the single stream.
Right. And I know Sustainable Poolsville has very solid ideas on how this is supposed to
Yes, they
be.
do.
And I don't blame them. I'm interested in hearing about it. I think we should. I don't know how that's going to help us necessarily in procuring who our next trash people are going to be. So,
That's one of your biggest costs, is the
I know.
recycling aspect of it.
yeah, no, I know. And then it'll be twice as much, or depends on how it works. Anyway, we got plenty of time to talk about it. Ed's got something to do.
Right, I need to give my report on Sustainable Poolsville. So,
Go for it.
Talking about all the trash. So one of the initiatives that Sustainable Poolsville has launched, and you'll hear more about it as time goes on, is called Pick It Up Poolsville. And with this Pick It Up Poolsville, there's a subcommittee. They started getting people to sign up to learn more about this initiative at Poolsville Day, but it's real simple. They want folks to look for community-wide neighborhood cleanup days. They started doing those quietly. They're going to encourage people to grab a bag or two while you're out walking 1 or 2 times a week. Help pick up some of the trash that's laying around here. I've been voluntold by my wife to go out and help do that a few times. She's actually leading that committee. So there's a Pick It Up Poolsville initiative where they're going out and picking up. And this kudos to the scouts who came out Sunday after Poolsville Day, early in the morning, and they were out picking up trash. And so it's, stay tuned and look up for those signs for Pick It Up Poolsville. All right, that's it.
Thank you. That is awesome. Okay, guys, so thanks for all the committee reports. We have approval of the minutes coming up. Then we're going to get into public comment. And you guys, for public comment, you can see that we have on the new business, we have Eagle Scout, Stevens Park, basketball courts, pickleball courts. If you have commentary on those agenda items separately, we can wait for that. You don't have to do it during public comment. Let the commissioners get through their presentation and our discussion. We may answer a lot of questions just in our discussion part of it, and then you can chime in if you feel like you need to. And if you do chime in, I'll ask you to come up to the desk, turn on the microphone. We already have some people signed up. That's what John's telling me right now. And we'll have you guys, I see you back there, Shallon. But we'll ask you to state your name and your street address, and then if you can limit it to 3 minutes, that's great. So that's what we're going to do after this. So approval of the minutes. Does anybody have any words on the approval of the minutes for September 6th, 2022?
I make a motion, we approve the minutes from September 6th, 2022 as written.
All right, I'll second the motion for approval of the minutes.
Motion for approval of the minutes of September 6th, 2022 from Martin, second from Ed. Any other discussion on the minutes, corrections, commentary? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? None? I just love that echo back there. Sounds like Carrie. Okay, the minutes have been approved 4-0. Thank you guys for chiming in on that. Appreciate it. Public comment. So, Shalyn, you're signed up. Do you want to hold off or you want to go during basketball?
I was over eager. I didn't know if I had to sign, so I'll wait. I'm here for basketball.
Okay, very good. We'll get you during basketball. Anything public comment oriented that's not related to the 3 agenda items of Eagle Scout Project, Stevens Park pickleball courts? No? Okay, very good. Eagle Scout Project, it's either going to be Wade or Jeff is going to start us off.
Yeah, if I may, and then Wade and I can kind of go back and forth. So Mr. Jason Woodman, a young man, he's in the Poolsville High School. He has an Eagle Scout project. So it's called a Distinguished Conservation Award project. A Distinguished Conservation Award project has 3 main requirements. The project must have a long-term positive impact on the environment. It has to be a large-scale project. The project must include components of education and public awareness. Jason Woodman is in the Boy Scouts. Is it called Boy Scouts or Scouts? I forget. He's 15 years old, at 9th grade at the Poolsville High School, lives in the Stony Spring neighborhood, is working towards becoming an Eagle Scout, and his project is, again, a Distinguished Conservation Award. About the project, Jason's proposed project is to construct a 1/4 acre pollinator management area. The pollinator management area would include a butterfly habitat for the endangered monarch butterfly. The proposed pollinator management site is the entrance to Stevens Park near Wooten and Collier Circle. The project completion timeframe is the spring of 2023. Jason is working on the final design. Jason intends to solicit sponsors to pay for the plants such as milkweed and other native plants for the pollinator management area. Jason plans to have an educational booth at Springfest to build awareness and education regarding the project. Jason also plans to place an article in the Monocacy Monocle. Additionally, Jason requests to include the story on the Town of Poolsville website. Jason is working with Boy Scout Council Representative Mr. Rogers. The project requires approval from both Mr. Rogers and the Town of Poolsville. Plus, the project requires a meeting between Mr. Rogers and the Town of Poolsville representatives such as Preston King or Wade Yost. The request is to use approximately 1/4 or up to 1 acre of land in Stevens Park for the pollinator management area. Plus, allocate money, approximately $5,000 if needed, for the repurposing of the site from a grassy area back to its natural state for a butterfly habitat. Jason requests to, I already said that, and Jason will submit the final design when it is ready. So what we are here to do today is to give Jason approval to proceed with the project and to work directly with, is it Preston or yourself, Wade? Preston, for the design of the project and fulfilling the remaining requirements. You want to add anything, Wade?
Sure. Jason really wanted to be here, but he had hockey tonight, so his mother is here if we have any questions.
I do have a question. So this isn't just a Eagle, I mean, I know the Eagle projects are intensive and you have to go through several layers of approval, but this is something different than that, right?
Correct. This is actually part of the BSA Distinguished Conservation Award. This is an extremely rare award that doesn't occur very often. It used to be called the Hornaday Award, and they got rid of that in 2020, and they revamped it for this new program. So he needs to do 2 large-scale conservation projects
okay.
in certain categories, one of which he has chosen is the pollinator garden. And it's actually above an Eagle in size, because an Eagle project, the big difference is an Eagle project is done in one day. Like, you plant your garden, everybody goes home, you're done. He plants the garden, he has to then do a Springfest booth, teaching everybody how to have their own mini monarch butterfly gardens. He also talked to Preston about doing one kind of catty corner to locals behind the John Pool House. So there's actually a permanent mini display. There will be signs describing how to build your own. It has QR codes that take you to the Monarch joint venture. And this wouldn't be seeding. So I think that's really important. It's big, established plants. And from Google Maps, it looks like it's a ½ acre when we mapped it out.
Wow.
We talked to Preston. So But it's a very huge
Awesome.
That will, if he actually accomplishes a second project after this one, and he's only 15.
Mhm.
It would be one of those things that gets like local area news, et cetera. It'd be a huge deal for Poolsville, especially if he could work on a second project for the town as well.
Awesome.
I think at one point we saw there was like 50 scouts in the whole US who actually earned this before, so it's a very rare,
Okay, he's not gonna not do his homework, right? His schoolwork, right?
that he's doing that.
Okay. I can't condone that if we approve this.
He's doing that. and
All right,
it's nice.
I just want to double check. All right, go ahead, Wade.
Okay, so just to follow up on this, this property was identified a couple of years ago as a place for a pollinator patch already. And we had funding in the budget, $5,000 was to go to that project. All adjacent property owners have already been notified that this was going to happen, and everybody's good with it, so it's ready to be approved. I mean, it's been potentially approved by this body once before, not quite in the same format. This is a little bit better format than what we had gone before, but, so.
Well, I just want to, I would like to proceed and make a motion that the town of Poolsville approves the project, the Distinguished Conservation Award project, managed by Jason Woodman and Preston King.
Great, we got a motion. Anybody else?
I'll second.
Second from Martin. So this has already been funded through, it's $5,000, correct?
We had that seed money in there, but I think that Jason's also going to do some fundraising and things
He
also.
has some very creative ideas for fundraising. Big part of, I think, the 5,000 from what Preston was saying is so the town would till the half acre.
Okay.
So the scouts weren't out there with their little shovels and trying to till a half acre of land. So that's a huge help.
Yeah, there's some rocks back there.
Yeah, exactly. So if that part is done, that's fantastic. He actually plans, and I can send the detailed plan to everyone, the proposal that was approved through the BSA Council, which is why we're here today, asking for the land. He wants to work with an artist friend of ours out in Bethany Beach, who wants to create a monarch butterfly art piece that could be sold as 8x10s that's Poolsville oriented, and the proceeds from that would be just to buy the plants. Like, family will take care of the other costs
Awesome.
associated with this, but just to buy the plants, since we're buying such big, established plants, this is a very expensive project.
Awesome, that's great. Looking forward to the long-term benefits. Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? No? Nothing from the audience? Okay, 4-0. We've been approved. Thank you, and thanks for his presentation. We saw that, was a good job. Okay, very good. And good luck to him tonight, too. Okay, very good. So Stevens Park basketball courts, somebody can either.
Yeah, fine, I'll jump in. A resident, now I don't have the woman's name, who was.
Well, she's right
thank
there.
you. There were two requests, the request to allocate, I think it was approximately $50,000 for Stevens Park baseball, what am I reading here? Thank you, basketball courts. There were two components here, resurface the basketball courts, which is the biggest money element, and then also purchase and install is it two or four? Four, thank you, non-adjustable, fixed-height, American-made basketball posts and backboards. Did you want to add anything to that?
And hoops and nets,
And hoops and nets, yeah.
and some lines.
Chains?
No, thank you.
So Wade and Preston have already discussed this, and I think there needs to be a little bit of shuffling of the budget money. So Wade can cover that point.
Sure, there is development rec fees that we've accumulated over the years from some of these developments going on. They have to pay a particular fee for each house. So we'd have about $115,000 in cash in those accounts that need to be used towards a park project. So this definitely falls in line with that. So I've actually prepared the motion. Transfer the $50,000 from there would be appropriate.
Assuming that the board is okay with this, and I know this might be the first time you guys have heard some of it, but if you go, all you have to do is go to Stevens Park and see what's going on over there. So it's, I give Shannon a lot of credit. She's taken a basketball organization to another level, and definitely plenty of kids are playing basketball, and it's a good thing. So, and we need the space. So if you guys look at your memorandum that you have here, there's some specific language to make this motion for the approval of this transfer of funds. Someone needs to make that motion if they would.
Sure. I make a motion to transfer $50,000 from restricted funds, development recreational fees to account number 2035, capital park projects for Stevens basketball courts.
Great. We have a motion. Do we have a second? You don't have to repeat it.
Sure, I'll second his motion.
Okay, very good. Any more discussion on this? I know this is a big chunk of change, but it is what with these kind of shovel-ready projects that we like, that we've been saving these funds up for.
Yeah, I'll just add to it that I think anytime we can do something to get kids outside, get them active, is always going to be in the favor of the whole community. So I definitely think this is a great way to invest in our youth.
I like your style. Anything else? Anything else from the commissioners? None? Okay. Call that motion to a vote. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? None? Okay, that's been approved 4-0. Thank you, everybody, for putting together. Shallon up front, the people in the back. We gotta love basketball, so that's good stuff. All right, thank you for that. Next up, nothing else for that, correct? That covers us? Okay, very good. Pickleball courts, whoever wants to start on that one.
I would be happy to. Mr. Norman Spencer spoke on behalf of the pickleball requests. There are two phases for the pickleball requests, short-term request and long-term request. The short-term request includes relining the existing pickleball courts, plus add pickleball lines to the existing 2 tennis courts at Stevens Park. Purchase 2 additional pickleball nets for use on the Stevens Park tennis courts for pickleball matches. Preston estimates a cost of $4,000 for the following: paint to add pickleball lines to the 2 tennis courts at Stevens Park. Purchase 2 additional pickleball nets for use on the 2 tennis courts at Stevens Park. Then there's a long-term request. The long-term request which is probably in the next budget, resurface the existing pickleball courts at the existing 6 pickleball courts at Stevens Park. Convert the 2 existing Stevens Park tennis courts to full-time pickleball courts. Stevens Park would then only be pickleball courts, no tennis courts. Preston estimates the cost of $80,000 to resurface the courts. Additionally, reline the existing pickleball courts after the resurfacing cures in 1 year. You're not paying attention.
We're listening. We also have it right in front of us, Tim.
Yeah, that's true. I did send it to you, yeah. Okay.
Does that not sound right?
Yes,
Yeah, we'll ask.
by all means, yeah.
A few slight inaccuracies, but
Yeah.
there's currently only 1 tennis court,
Oh, 1 tennis court, okay.
because the 1 tennis court has already been converted for a pickleball court.
Oh, okay, great, yeah, very good.
So the short term would be take the last existing tennis court and put lines down on either side of the tennis net for pickleball court, and to acquire 2 new portable
Nets, yep,
for the pickleball.
great.
Long term is to redo, because there are some cracks and everything, to redo the entire surface where there had been 2 tennis courts and resurface it and repaint 8 new pickleball courts.
Right. Thank you.
That's my understanding too. So is that, are we in agreement out there with that, with George's assessment? Okay, very good.
It's very important to keep old people active too.
Right. Yeah,
Yes, it is, yes.
we need,
It's hard to disagree with.
oh, I know, that was, you're right.
Be in your driveway.
I don't need that.
Well, one of the things too,
Yeah, Ed?
yeah, sure. So one of the things, when we look at the study that we talked about on Saturday morning, and we look at the health in this region, and we definitely, that's a problem area. So anything that we could do to get seniors out and moving, it is a benefit to the community. We do benefit from the wisdom of the seniors. And imagine this at Stevens Park, seeing the young kids out there playing basketball and the young seniors out there playing pickleball and getting those kids involved in pickleball. But when we look at the data tells us that in this region, we have some of the poorest outcomes, health outcomes in Montgomery County. So I think it is even if it's costly, I think it's a wise investment into health to get people out and moving. So let's get the older wise folks out moving too.
If I may, I think the one component, which I don't think was ever answered properly, was have the tennis players been consulted to have their tennis courts,
The tennis court would still stay in place.
I'm sorry?
They would be able to play tennis. We would not be disturbing the tennis court. We would put additional lines. But that's a common activity, like the tennis flex at Germantown. They have tennis courts with pickleball lines on them and charge several $100 a year for it. It's not a big deal. Tennis will still be.
Yeah, but
One
the-
court at Stevens, tennis, one court at Stevens, correct? After it's restriped and repainted.
Still maintaining one court.
Right. I don't want to open up a can of pickles, but I think in the long term, and I know the Parks Board is going to jump on this, and it's nice that we'll be able to allocate some money because we've walked that court. We know it's got some flat spots and some issues in it. Obviously, the whole thing needs to be resurfaced, so we get that. But I think there's going to be, I think we've got some longer-term things that we need to look at in terms of making sure we have plenty of pickleball courts, make sure we have plenty of tennis courts. I'm a little concerned about the tennis only because, we're also relying on the middle school and the high school to pick up some of the slack of the tennis players. And we don't know how long that's going to be or what could happen there. So we are going to look at, it doesn't mean in any way that we have less pickleball. It would just mean we've got to maybe find more tennis solutions, but we'll put that into the Parks Board
All
and
right.
have them talk about it. And that's the only comment I have on this. The rest of this, I appreciate all the preparation for the money, the allocation, the idea of the pickleballers. George, go ahead.
Because as a tennis player also,
Yeah.
Poolsville is sort of a tennis paradise. You have 2 courts at Helmuth Park. You have courts at the middle school. And 3 courts over at Owens Park. Most of the better players around here tend to go over to Owens Park.
Mhm.
But, and then secondarily Helmuth, the only people who really use Stevens Park for tennis are those within walking distance of the courts.
And and you make a good point. Remember, the park structure for Poolsville was each neighborhood development is supposed to have some sort of park activity that's easily accessible to it. So I think as we move forward from a Parks Board perspective, that we don't lose sight of the fact that there is still tennis that's played. I get it, tennis mecca, but that there is tennis potential opportunities at Stevens. I don't want to lose those full time, but I would not want to lose pickleball and expanded pickleball. So we just.
I don't think we've ever said each regional park should have every facility.
Agreed. But all I can tell you is, I did hear from Seneca Chase residents asking to make sure that there's still going to be tennis available, and I'm able to tell them, yes, there is. So, go ahead, Julie.
Only until you resurface and have, then it won't exist.
Well, that has, to me, if that's what the plan is.
I readily admit there's some confusion here. So I'm going back to my handwritten notes, which I took 7 pages of notes. And I have clearly written down here that after the resurfacing is complete, there will be no tennis courts at Stevens Park. There will be 8 pickleball courts at Stevens Park. Now, somehow that is not correct, but this is what I wrote down.
So imagine from, let's say we paint next week, all right? Tennis is still available. We're gonna paint these 2.
Yeah, no, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about there was 2 phases, a short-term and a long-term.
Yeah.
The long-term is resurfacing and turning all the courts into pickleball courts. No more tennis courts at Stevens Park. So if we're okay with that, I don't know.
Well, we're not voting on
The
that
tennis
today.
people are not here to speak up.
Right, we're not voting on that today.
Okay,
We're
great.
voting on the money, and I'm committed to finding a solution to make sure we still have tennis available there without harming the increased capacity of the pickleball courts
Then we
that we're
can-
already sanctioning.
Then we can vote on the one request, which is a short-term request, which is relining the existing pickleball courts and adding pickleball lines on the additional tennis court, but it'll still be a tennis court. It'll be a multi-use court for tennis and pickleball.
We're doing that, and we're also allocating the funds
Yes.
for the future resurfacing of that, because we need
Yeah.
that line item in place so we can get grants.
Right, and back to the whole thing of, it comes down to how you're going to paint it. At the end of the day, you're going to separate the
Correct.
courts,
Yeah.
so you could have a multi-use, one side and the other side, the 4, and make it work either way, depending on how much public input we get, which we'll solicit as we go
Yep.
through the budget process, so.
Yeah, so just make sure everybody knows, I'm not trying to confuse it. We're never going to have less pickleball at that location than what we're going to create right now. The question is, I just want to make sure that I'm not satisfied that our tennis players haven't been answered yet on tennis at that location. Go ahead.
Well, in speaking to, I'm Melissa Rose, live on Brown Road in the Westwood subdivision. In speaking to keeping the parks kind of equal, so I'm closest to Halmos Park, which has lights, but no pickleball lines. So if we're gonna make the parks equal, then we might wanna think about having pickleball lines on some of the tennis courts where people can play tennis or pickleball.
For another $50 and our labor, we can fix Halmos Park to be multi-use right now.
I'm okay with the Parks Board talking about that. That's not really, it's kind of out of my purview on it. I get it. But I'm not opposed to that. If they've already talked about it, speak up. But I'm not opposed to it. I just think that, again, my focus is making sure that, and it also, it's not about, I hear you, it's not about equal. As George said, the plan, the plan that we did when we created our neighborhoods many, many moons ago was to always have these amenities, but it didn't have to be equal amenities. So, again, my concern just comes from that we haven't really gotten solid tennis input back in. But I'm also not opposed to talking about what it would take to redo those stripes and having a conversation there on Halmos. So there's lights and people that can play pickleball at night while that ability.
I guess I would propose that it's gonna cost about the same amount of money to do the maintenance and the resurfacing, regardless of whether it's a mixture of pickleball and tennis or whatever.
Oh, totally agree.
So we should approve going forward,
Right.
put the money in place. If you wanna debate 8 courts versus 6 courts, that's what we.
So you guys, I know I'm probably not making myself clear. That is definitely not on the table. We are doing that. We are going to vote on that. We're not going to further debate on that. We're moving forward with the motion that says short-term money, long-term money created, and then long-term money created so that we can pursue grants to get all the money we need to pay for the complete resurfacing of the courts, regardless of the final use. But the plan, I'm guessing, will be the final use will be all pickleball courts at Stevens. Does that make sense? Yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to dissuade you, but I'm just, the more we talk, then we get a little confused about it. So, go ahead, Julie.
I just had a question about the financing, because I've been sitting here.
Sure.
5,000 for the butterfly garden, the 50,000, boom. So now we have to get grants for this, so it could be years before we get
No,
this?
not necessarily at all. So the whole thing is, this wasn't something that was going to be done immediately, so there's no reason to immediately fund the full thing. So when I go write grants, if I have a line item that's approved by the legislative body, it makes it so much easier to get funds from different sources, community parks or playgrounds, whatever the source is going to be. So still, as we get to the budget next year in January, February, if grants aren't coming in, it does look positive, the commissioners can fund it all right then also. This just gives me some tools to be able to work with to try to get grants and secure it. This is how we do a lot of big projects.
And so what's the timing that you see compared to the basketball court, et cetera?
It could be next year, it could be in the fiscal year of '24. We're in '23 now, so fiscal year '24 starts in July of '23. So yeah, it's very typical of how we usually handle it.
Are you asking why we would fund basketball without a grant and then not fund pickleball unless we got grants?
Yeah.
Exactly, that's exactly what I was asking.
So the answer to that question is that we've determined that that there are recreational grants that are potential that these guys are going to shoot for that have benefit towards seniors and towards the raging population of pickleball. So basketball is been basketball for 100 years. So
But the basketball courts are already fairly deteriorated and the nets were off, different sizes. So it needed to be redone regardless. They just gave us a reason to do it.
And I don't see any reason why that if we couldn't get the grants that we would not finish funding it. So this just gives us the tools in our tool belt to do it.
Can I ask, do you need us to provide data for grants?
Yes.
Yeah.
That would be helpful for me, absolutely.
Yeah, that time's coming.
Yeah, if you tell us what it is specifically you'd like.
But I can tell you this: the people that we talk to for grants and the people that are out there, we're going through all means possible, county, state, national. The minute you say pickleball, they just want to fall over and help because they know that that seniors need the activity and also seniors vote.
Yeah, we just expanded our indoor to 5 days a week.
Yeah, awesome.
For during the winter months.
Go ahead, behind you.
I just, you keep saying it's good for the seniors. Yes, we're all here, we're all seniors. But come down and see the people that are playing. We are the older ones. There are people, there's an 8-year-old that comes and plays against
Right.
us, plays just as good as we do. His father plays, there are 2 other college students that come down.
Well,
From 40 to 80.
But you're the organized group behind it, so we hear you. And that, if I'm mischaracterizing that, I don't want to.
But it's going to affect.
You provide better data than a 9-year-old.
Just don't think it's a bunch of old people.
Nope. If it was, I'd be there too. All right, guys. What else we got? Anything? Do we make a motion on this or not? Have we already done there? No? Can we get a motion then? And whoever is making the motion, if you could read it from the script that's been provided.
I make a motion to transfer $24,000 from unrestricted funds, development recreational fees to account 2035, $4,000 for nets and paint, and $20,000 towards pickleball courts.
Thank you. Jeff has made a motion. Do we have a second?
I second.
Second from Martin. Before I go to a vote, does anybody else have any input? I don't want to leave anybody hanging. Is there any confusion about this? Anybody else want to make their case? You can come to.
So this is partial funding, is that what you're?
That's-
This is not including the resurfacing.
So, no, well, not necessarily.
So
Go
this
ahead.
is, so the $20,000 is seed money that's going to go towards doing the resurfacing. Exactly what this is.
We know this is going to be a
So
lot
what it
more
is,
expensive.
It's giving me some matching money also to say I have matching money when I'm going for this grant, which is a big, I'm trying to get as many things on my side that I can.
Okay. Any other
Thanks.
questions before we do that? We had a motion, we have a second. Anybody else out there? Hope it answers for you. Great. All right, motion and a second. All those in favor of this motion, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Nope. Okay. 4-0, that's been approved. Thanks to everybody out there for your advocacy and for working with us and working with our Parks Board. And, we're excited about where this is all going, so.
And stay tuned as we go through the budget process in January, February, and the public hearings, make your voice heard again.
So does this mean we get to start doing the?
Yes, so you'll be working, you and Wade and Preston, I know Norm spoke to me about this, you guys can make arrangements to either buy the template yourselves. I mean, Wade will get with you on how the plan is going to go, so.
We'll hook up with Preston. He's on vacation this week, fishing somewhere after Poolsville Day, so he does it. So, for doing the smaller one?
The six court.
We can do that as soon as he gets back, the week after next. Yeah, yep.
Well, thank you very much.
Yep, thank you. Jeff, did you have anything else to add to that?
No,
I
congratulations.
know there's a lot going on. I appreciate it. And please tell the Parks Board I said thanks a lot for their hard work, too. Yes, Maria, go ahead.
I was gonna say, we have a clinic on Wednesday at 5:30, that we have potentially 20 new players coming on board. So-
Wow. Well, as I said, I'm for bigger picture. I don't believe this is a fad. I think we may end up building a lot more courts as time goes on. And, this, to me, we're just scratching the surface of this right now. So, all right, guys, very good. Thank you, everybody. If you want to take a minute and leave, or you can stay for the rest of this is up to you.
It's going to be really exciting.
There we go. Thank you. Okay, very good. John, are you back from your break? Okay. You guys, thanks for all the lively part of this. It's great having a full house for a meeting, so that was a lot of fun. And Wade, thanks for all your preparation for those, moving those dollars around. And that made it easy for us. All right, video.
There's a celebrity in the audience?
I don't know, have you guys met I.J. Hudson before?
Remember him from the news like years ago?
He's great. I went and shook his hand before. I was like, I always enjoyed his work. He was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, he lives in Darnestown. Visual system, Wade, go ahead. Unless this is yours too.
It is not.
Okay, all right, good. I'm
I can
gonna,
attest that we need this.
I know, right? Everybody's been a victim. You know what it was? Someone yanked all my cords apart that were down here. I was wiring it all back together this morning. So, yes, so we have a pretty antiquated system. Part of it's antiquated, some of it's new, but it's all been piecemealed from COVID times. And so I've been working with the IT guy from Tawnytown. Jay hooked me up with him. He does their attorney stuff there. And he came down and to set it up, and they have they have an awesome system in Tawnytown. He actually operates it. That's all he does. He sits behind a curtain and zooms in on, like, if you start talking and put your name below, we're not getting that fancy. The ability will be here if you wanted to do it at some point, because it's going to be the same interface technology that he has. The camera right there we can use again. There'll be 2 other cameras placed up here that'll be able to see this, and there'll be an interface card here, so that if I just touch this right here, that one comes on automatically, or touch this one, it gets on you guys automatically. I can switch it around with a finger touch. No, this will be a 10-inch. Yes, I think so. There's a training part of this also, so once I get trained, I'll know. But everything can happen to the interface. There's actually going to be a whole mechanical rack to hold all the equipment. You'll be able to present from the table up here as well as from here, and there might be ports, I think, for the commissioners if they want to do a presentation also. That'll all interface through it. I just poke a button, and that one comes on. So it's really just user-friendly. These 2 monitors are not monitors, they're actually TVs. We're going to have to repurpose these. We need actual monitors up there because RF cables and things that, to make a real AV system, can't go to a regular TV. It has to go to a...
Are we gonna do something so that we're not having to like go like this to see, could this be like hanging?
Well, so we talked about that, and because he could do hanging mics and stuff, I said, I really don't think we want to have stuff hanging from the ceiling. So we're going to try to raise this up and keep the, what we have as far as the architectural goes.
Yeah, the danger of raising it too far, you block out the people.
Yes, so there's going to be a fine line. That'll actually be bigger also than what it is there.
At the, at the fire station, we have a big TV. It's bigger than that one and that one, and it's on a wheeled cart. And it's wireless. Of course, you have to plug it in. There's got to be electricity, but then it connects to the system wirelessly. So you can position it wherever you want, depending on who's in the room. And then, other than electricity, you don't need to connect any cables to it.
Similarly to what we had at the breakfast the other day, you have the screen on wheels.
Oh, yeah.
Really, right? Even if you put one right over there on that side, everybody can turn and see it here. You're not doing one of these numbers.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
I think this is a great thing because, this is sort of like the way the future's going. Like,
Absolutely. No, COVID kind of brought all this out. But
when I had COVID, I was able to attend the meeting and if I travel a fair amount, probably Ed travels, people can still call in and still zoom in. Jay, it just.
What do you think about maybe mounting it instead of having it there, putting it up on that wall? I mean, I know it's tough for Jeff to see, but.
You could angle it too.
But
yeah, there's several options. Yeah, that's a good point, though.
You got the wall. Just think about something on wheels because you could maybe do other things with it.
Yeah, when we thought about doing this here, it's fine. I can see it fine from here, but you guys, obviously, I see everybody doing that, looking up. So.
Or maybe even mounted to the back wall. You'd have to rearrange some stuff, but.
If we could. But we can certainly look at that part of it.
Don't go too far back.
I know, that's what I was thinking too, right?
Martin has
It's a bigger screen.
He has younger eyes.
What about putting, I know we've always had this kind of simplistic situation here where we could maybe raise this a little bit, raise everything, the desk a little bit. So now, as if we raise the desk, then we just pull it back.
You could put the stand-in podium in there if you wanted to, but, I mean, there's tons of options that we could do.
Longer than 3 minutes, people.
Yeah, it would, yeah.
Well, couldn't you?
We have it in there, but
Couldn't you just put like couldn't you just have like bars and the TV like, you know, kind of up, like sitting like above, like almost like the TV starts like here, people can still,
Squint through the
you know,
middle.
look through the gap there, and then, you know, all the commissioners can see the TV easily.
And think about if you're in the back and there, it blocks your view a little bit.
Yeah, I guess it would block it a little bit.
Let me talk to the professionals and let them come up with a solution.
Right, yeah, yeah.
All new mics will be part of it, and the new sound system, the amplifiers, all that stuff. So it's gonna be a whole system that's, I don't know. So, no, I don't think so. I think that most of these parts are readily available. So I think once we get all the, you know, everything tightened up on it, we can roll with it. So anyways, look at the price of it. How we would fund this would be through impact fees from public facilities account. Those are actually impact fees that are collected from the new homes to pay back a proportionate share of this building here. So it's a perfect expenditure of funds to spend it on this building. And it's the only thing you can spend it on really, because it's restricted funds. So that's been a recommendation if we want to move forward with it.
I'm willing to make a motion. Do you want to discuss it anymore first?
No, I'm already reviewed all this, I like what it is. The only, just for the folks who are in the room, I did ask.
Wait about potentially going out for competitive bids, but there is like an interactive portion of this where the guys really have to be like a team member almost to be personalize the creation of the program. So I was comfortable with not. And,
You check out the Tawny Town technology, and it looks
He sent me his link to his meetings, and I watched the meetings, and you can see it's really neat. Far above what we have, absolutely.
So I make a motion, we transfer $52,000 from the impact fees public facilities account to account 2005 office equipment for audio visual system.
Motion has been made by Martin. Do we have a second?
Second by Jeff.
Second from Jeff. Okay, we have a motion to transfer $52,000 from impact fees public facilities account to account number 2005 office equipment for audio visual system. We have a motion and we have a second there. Do we have any other questions? Anything from the vast studio audience that seems to have left us besides George? No?
What do you think, George?
I am totally in favor of improving the audio-visual. For the times that I'm not able to attend meetings.
Yeah, it's nice, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Everything is very good. And to be able to see it either live or great thing with YouTube. You can
And
go
you
back
touched-
if you're busy one night or something, go look
Yeah.
at it another time.
You touched on what I think is like the most important thing. Like, you know, like there's so many people at home with kids that can't be here, but maybe they want to comment, maybe they just want to see what happened. And like now, you know, this opens up. I mean, you talk about like transparency in government and all this. This is a huge, you know, being able to do it like this is a huge leap forward in that department in my mind.
Yep, agreed. Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? None? It's been approved 4-0. Thanks for your work on that, Wade. Looking forward to it coming into play. Next up, old business, Fisher Avenue I&I. I know it's one of you two over there on the right, so.
All right, so what's up before you is, it's basically piggybacking or a change order to the original contract that was issued under the Fisher Avenue pump station. There's a certain section of the Fisher Avenue, what we call the gravity section of the line. There's certain things that were never addressed in the past, and through the American Rescue Funds, we're able to address it. The values that are being used are the same values that are currently in the contract, so we're piggybacking off of those items. And Snyder has performed for the town on the Elgin I&I and also the Fisher Avenue I&I section of the pump station. So what we're going to do is complete the work that needs to be done from Town Center, what we call Town Center, which is up by the old Town Hall, all the way down to Wooten Avenue. And this also includes parts of Beale Street and Milford Mill. So we'll be able to get that all completed. We know we've had I&I problems in there in the past. We also know that in one excavation where we had a failure in the lateral, when we excavated down to it, we almost lost the lateral because the pipe was open and would fall right into the pipe, into the main line. So evidently what they did is they just punched a hole in the pipe and then stuck the pipe in it the best they could and packed rags around it. Well, the rags have now disappeared, and so we have open holes in that line. So what we're requesting is from the ARF money for the contract at present time is $995,895. And we do recommend a contingency fee of $49,749.75. I'm sorry, $75 to be engaged. That'll bring the total amount for this project to $45,689.75. Yeah, they always get in the way. Yeah, but you can't use it for pickleball courts. Sorry about that. The current balance in the American Rescue Funds is approximately $3,168,000, and that's as of the date of writing of this memo. So there's plenty of money there. We also have planned future work to do some additional work in the future with that American Rescue Funds, dealing with the water system and the sewer system.
Just a continued, like Sherman's March, it's headed down Fisher Avenue. Okay, very good.
Have you been able to measure any improvements or less water coming to the
Well,
waste?
we haven't really had enough rain to do anything yet.
Oh, okay.
The season is coming up. You know, it really happens when the leaves come off the trees. These trees soak up more water than you would think, you know, out of the, there's like two different levels of aquifer. So the upper aquifer is about 12 to 15 foot deep. There's such a clay liner and a bedrock there, it holds that water in a false aquifer, so to speak. So once the trees stop sucking up that water, it gets into the pipes quick. So we're gonna find out. Do you need a motion for that, for the American Rescue Funds?
Yes, I do need a motion to go ahead and fund it, yeah.
So you guys, give us some words here, John. I know it's going to be, pay attention to whoever's going to make this motion.
So your recommendation is to award the amount of $995,895 to Snyder Environmental for the purpose of lining the gravity section of Fisher Avenue from the town center to Wooton.
Plus the extra,
49, 749, 75.
Yeah.
what is it, is that what it is?
Well, that's a contingency. So you would, yeah, you do that contingency.
So Jeff, I saw you writing down. Are you ready to make this motion?
For-
So it's,
I don't know, would you
it's
make
two
the
parts.
motion
It's
for
for
the
the
total
motion
amount or
for the,
Total amount. You
Total
can be
amount.
roundabout, it doesn't have to be exact. It
yeah,
doesn't have to be exact.
Oh, I got the letter, yeah.
doesn't have to be exact.
Correct.
'Cause we already had the money.
budget, you could be over.
That's
You
right.
can use as much, that's the way.
Fisher
All
Avenue.
right, so Jeff, you got it if not.
Well, I'll give it a try. So I'm going to make a motion to allocate $995,895 to Snyder
Environmental.
Environmental
Yep.
to improve the gravity section of Fisher Avenue from the town center to Wooton.
Correct.
Sounds good. Does that serve your purpose
That-
over there
that'll
to the
serve the
right?
purpose because the others,
Okay.
it's a,
Right.
don't worry about this because, no, because that's a contingency. And it would come, it'd come back if necessary. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. We have a motion. Do we have a second? Anybody can just say second. Second from Ed. Okay, very good. Thanks for the discussion on this. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None? Okay, approved 4-0. Thank you for that. Thanks for the work, John. Wade, Town Manager's Report.
Okay, we just got notification, the Maryland Board of Public Works has finally approved our $7 million grant for upgrading of the wastewater plant. This is something we started 3.5 years ago. We weren't quite meeting the nitrogen removal sometimes in the wastewater plant. So we had received a grant prior to that for $200,000 to upgrade the air system, which really wasn't enough to make it really a denitrification plant, enhanced nutrient removal it's called. So John and I both met with MDE. We had some old well, they're older guys now that were young guys when we first started. We've gone through the chain with them. So they sat down and said, okay, well, we have this bucket of money, and the bucket of money comes from the Chesapeake Bay Rescue Fund that you pay on your water bill every quarter. So that money's sitting out there, so we're able to get that $7 million of that to come here. They're going to do denitrification filters and just expand the whole plant, not expand, enhance the whole plant. They won't improve the size of the permit or anything. It's just for upgrading the treatment system. So we're getting
Are we
that.
satisfied this is gonna get us to regular compliance, and then future compliance, or have they not even set the bar for future compliance yet?
You know what? The future
they're tightening it
compliance is good. They're going to pick another contaminant. They're not going to pick on nitrogen
Oh, you don't think it's
anymore.
gonna be nitrogen?
They're going to go with probably pharmaceuticals, perhaps, PFAs. There's testing on wastewater for that now. So yeah, they'll always find something new. They've worn out the nitrogen thing pretty good.
That's good to hear, because we spent a lot of money on it, and everybody
Yeah.
else has too. And
You
it- for a
really
worthy,
can't get much more out of it. I mean, you're
right,
turning
for,
it all the
for
way.
a worthy cause,
Yeah,
too.
you're breaking it all the way down, so.
Right.
Just a quick question, so I was trying to take notes. So the Maryland Department of Environment approved a $7 million grant to Poolsville,
A little bit over 7 million, yep.
specifically to upgrade our denitrification plant?
Yes,
Okay, I thought
it makes it a denitrification plant.
Oh, I thought it wasn't built yet.
No, this is what this money's for, to build it.
Oh, okay, well, thank you. Great, thanks.
Okay. Let's see, I get to say something that Jeff, I'm surprised he didn't say. So during Poolsville Day, the fire department had 10 calls. They had one for life-saving, one for hand injury, one for twisted ankle, and 7 heat-related. So they were busy.
Yeah, we were definitely busy. I personally had transports to Shady Grove.
Oh, wow.
So we were chasing around a bit.
And the health care clinic that was here, Katie Longbrecht reported, that did it with WOMCO, reported that over 80 people attended, 40 people received flu shots, 6 people got the COVID booster, 50 people had blood glucose checked, and 9 people had just personal consultations with a practitioner.
That is awesome.
So
that's great.
I didn't think that, I was thinking, well, this is not going to be a
That's
flop.
something we
But
should explore doing like quarterly.
that's how Kathy and I had the same conversation today. I mean, it's kind of a neat thing.
I think you can't even put. I mean, like, it's hard to even like put a value on that. I mean, like, physicians can catch small things or whatever, and like preventative. Talk about our health outcomes.
Yep.
Maybe that's something we should look into. Seeing if they have like big vans that kind of looks like the Bloodmobile, but then they do like health screening and stuff. So something I don't know.
Yep, definitely. That'll partner with the churches, because churches do some of that stuff too, a little bit, I think. But,
Yeah.
I don't know, that's our whole conversation we were having this
Yep.
afternoon, but, yeah.
Just FYI on that too, I don't want to interrupt you, but. You guys, all of us attended our breakfast. Didn't it just jump out to you how important dental is?
Yes.
That is the walk away from that day, and all the screening, all the discussion points. Dental leads to all those terrible health outcomes, nutrition, health deterioration. I mean, it was astounding how much of every single slide came up with it. Having some sort of dental care and bringing it to the people is critical. So Link and I talked about that a little bit today. We'll all be getting together and have further conversations about it. But that's the one that it outweighed everything else.
Yeah.
You might even
So-
tap into Great Williams for some other resources.
Oh, I think we're gonna we'll stop focusing on White's Ferry and starts focusing on people's health a little bit more. So anyway, sorry.
No, that was good stuff. Just to follow up on the skate park, that Jeff announced at the, so the guys are flying in. It's Pillar, Brad from Pillar, who did the original design of the skate park. And I've been talking with Andy Duck, and then Andy Neal is also coming in. He's a big skate park advocate guy. So they're gonna do a shred style, Gabriel Herman, or however it's said. Yeah, he was the one who kind of started this ball, and I've been working with him quite a bit. We've met a couple different times. Used some of his language. We put a grant together. It's been sent out, because we have 3 different concepts of what the park could look like. Haven't looked at any budget monies yet, but all that's going to be presented on October 5th. So we're going to start a campaign here, start advertising and get kids excited about it, so.
It's going to be a total review.
No, it's going to be an add-on. Yep. So yep.
That's the evening of the park board meeting.
Yep, it's going to start at 6 o'clock, a little earlier. And then Preston we ordered, I asked Brad from Pillar, what can you do about graffiti on a park? Because it's really difficult to get off without destroying the concrete. So he sent me some links of what other municipalities and places are using now. And we haven't tried it yet because it was raining and they were all busy last week. So we have the process in place to be able to, you apply it and wait a little bit and pressure washer it, and on the video, it comes right off. So we're going to see what happens. So we're gonna give it a try, see if we can get it cleaned up. And the thing of it is, it's not even the skate park kids that are doing it. You know, so that's unfortunate. So that'd be exciting. And then West Willard sidewalk, you know, we've been working on it, trying to get the easements granted to continue the sidewalk from where the trail comes out of Westerly Grove down that soccer field. We have the path there, and there's kind of like a disconnect going over to Stony Springs. So we got the easements acquired, and I think you drove down and recorded them today. So we're going to get that segment of sidewalk put in and finish that little segment there, and we'll have a loop put in place. Kids can walk to school or whatever. So that's.
And you are Homes for Hero recipient for.
Yes.
Agreeing to the.
Yep. So that was a good deal. And then the comprehensive plan work session is on September 27th with the Planning Commission. It'll be kind of a roundtable discussion. Started to get into the nitty-gritty of breaking down the language and the chapters and plugging stuff in and getting to work on it. So time to roll the sleeves up with that. That's all I have.
Okay, you guys, any other questions for Wade, John, George?
What time is that?
Go for it.
6 o'clock.
7 o'clock is the work session. 6 o'clock is the.
6 o'clock skate park, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay, if you would you mind sending a reminder out to everybody on that one? That's probably a good one for all of us I mean, there's no problem. We're going to be silent members in the work session. Those that want to attend.
The work session, not the skate park.
Oh, no, skate park too. Yeah.
This way, I had one question for you. So I was at Helmos Sunday where they had the flag football, and so here's the bathrooms, but there's that other part where I guess it was like that cat with that sewage. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah, it's an environmental pump sitting outside.
Right there. So it seems like there's something that's like slowly kind of spilling over a little bit, and so it's something to, yeah. So I got.
Did it smell bad?
Yeah, you got there's a scent there.
We'll take care of that.
Yeah, I told I told him that I bring it up when here, but if we could check that out. Other than that, though, the flag football, 180 kids out there doing
That's
football
awesome.
all day Sunday.
Yeah, happy for the Blackstone.
Yeah.
Organizers and all that. They did a great
So.
job.
Motion.
Make a motion, we adjourn?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? None. Okay, we're done. Thanks.